Hey guys, it's Mike. So, I've been running around for the last 2.5 years with actually the longest run I've gone without updating my iPhone with this iPhone 6 Plus, 128 gig. Not the 6S Plus, but the 6 Plus. I got this pretty much as soon as it came out, and this is my work phone, so my company actually paid for this. But I managed to get this as soon as it came out, and it was a super, super nice phone at the time. But it's been, let's put it this way, I've replaced the screen twice. The new screen's got some bright spots, some dark spots, so it was an aftermarket screen, so it's not the greatest. In addition, since I upgraded it to iOS 10, it's been running glacially slow, and I guess 2.5-year-old phone, I guess that's to be expected to a certain point. But since it's what I use every day for work, and I'm doing everything from email to Skype for Business on it to our corporate apps, I'd prefer something a little quicker. And as much as I really wanted to wait until next year to get the iPhone 8, I decided I really needed to get something newer, so work allows us to upgrade every 2 years. So I put in my order a couple days ago for the iPhone 7 Plus, and it came in today, and I got it in black. And I did not do an unboxing on this phone because I did one of my daughter's rose gold one just maybe a month or two ago, so you can watch that if you want. I like the color, I like the aesthetics to it. And as you also know, I actually carry two phones. I've got a personal phone, which is a Samsung Galaxy S7. And I really had a Note 7 prior to this, as you all know, and I liked it, and I miss it, and it's gone. But this is what I got for now. It's not a bad phone. I like having my own personal phone, so I can shut off my work phone occasionally. I also like when I've got customers use Android, I can test stuff on the Android device. And considering I'm in the mobile field, it's great to be knowledgeable of the main platforms. And no, I do not have a Windows phone right now. There's about 3 people using it. No offense to that. I think Windows Phone's a great platform, but it has definitely not hit enough market penetration yet. Let's put it this way. I haven't run into any customers of mine that are using it. So, and I deal with enterprise level, so it's not personal phones. This is, you're deploying thousands of them. But I digress. So, back to the iPhone 7 Plus. I want to talk about what I like about it, what I use it for, and what I didn't like about it, and how things are going to change. Now, typically, when I was using the iPhone 6 Plus, I've used it for, obviously, all my work applications, personal usage. I've used it to listen to music. And I'll tell you why I used to listen to music with it. Because, let's see, I've been using Apple products since this thing. This is one of the original iPods. I've actually got an older one somewhere around here. And I've been buying music on iTunes since then. So I've got a large library of music that is Apple compatible. And it's gotten easier to move around as they've gotten rid of DRM. But I'm actually very happy with my iTunes library and that I can use it. And Apple threw us a nice bone, I guess about a year or two ago, when they put Apple Music on this thing, so I've been able to listen to music on my Android as well. But my primary device has always been iOS for listening to music, and occasionally watching videos. So, let's fast forward to this iPhone 7. First, let's talk about the packaging. Okay, I take this thing out of the box, and it's kind of messed up right now. The headphones come in like this cardboard wrapper. Now, in past iPhone iterations, the headphones have come with this plastic container, if you will, that you could store them in and carry it with you. It made it a little more difficult to lose the headphones. It kept them from getting tangled. And in this case here, they don't. They come in cardboard. Worse, you can't just open this thing, take it out. You got to rip it. So I ripped the front off here. And even after doing that, you still got to rip these side things to get the headphones out. So I don't know. When you're buying a flagship device, it's multiple hundreds of dollars. I would expect better thought out packaging than that. That's a nitpicky thing. In this case, I'm just going to put the headphones in my pocket. But I shouldn't have to tear it up to get it out. I just thought that was very non-Apple-like on the packaging. Somewhere here I've got the box that came in. Here. The other thing that came on that packaging was, get this out of here, was this dongle. This tiny little easy-to-lose dongle. And the idea here is if you want to use your old headphones, you plug it into the lightning connector and you plug your headphones into it. And the reason for that is there's no headphone jack here. Now for most people, this is probably going to be fine. But if you travel weekly like I do, I have a hard time not losing headphones. I'll lose 2 or 3 pairs of headphones in a year. So just keeping this attached to the headphones is no guarantee I'm not going to lose this. Apple decided that getting rid of the headphone jack and using the lightning connector would lead to superior audio quality because you could tell the headphone manufacturers to take the digital analog converter and put them into the headphones themselves and basically tune them for that listening experience, and you would end up with a better audio quality. And that may be true. And of course, it's going to drive the headphone prices up a bit, but you know, if you're buying a good pair of headphones, it's probably worth it. But it's not really an advantage for the iPhone 7 because you could still do that on, where is it? You could still do that on the iPhone 6. Still got a lightning connector. Guess what? This dongle or lightning headphones would still fit in there. So that's still could happen. But you still had the headphone jack if you had some older legacy headphones. Now, why am I so hard up on these older legacy headphones? Well, I travel, like I said. So I can take my headphones. If I have a normal pair of headphones, I can, with an audio jack, I can plug them into, at least until recently, my iPhone. I can plug them into the audio jack on my Android. I can plug them into the audio jack on my laptop. And if I'm flying, I can plug them into the audio jack on the in-flight entertainment system. One pair of headphones, I can do all that until recently. Now, on the iPhone 7, I've got a proprietary lightning connector. And yes, Apple is kind enough to give me proprietary lightning headphones. These headphones will only work on the iPhone 7. I cannot take these and plug them into anything else. And there's no lightning to audio jack dongle. So these are useless for anything else. I can't even plug these into Apple's current laptops, which use a headphone jack. The brand new one just came out, used a headphone jack and USB-C. Now, I'd be a lot less critical if Apple converted the iPhone to use USB-C. At least then that would make sense with the whole vision they've got going forward. And by the way, every Android phone in the world seems to be switching to USB-C. It will be an open standard that people could use. Headphone manufacturers have to pay Apple a license to use these lightning cables. If I lose my headphones on the road, before I could go into any store or convenience store and get a pair of headphones, even if it's a cheap pair, that I could plug in and use. I'm not going to find anything with a lightning connector. And unless there's an Apple store nearby, I'm not going to have a handy access to a dongle. So I'm going to have to order a couple extra of these, keep them in my bag. So that's one thing. Now, I'm trying to think of a way around this because that's really kind of a pain. You've either got to carry multiple headphones, one for the iPhone, one for everything else, or deal with the small, easy-to-lose dongle, or get wireless headphones, which I've never been a fan of anyway. I've just never really warmed up to Bluetooth headphones. They got latency, it's something else to charge. Danger of making videos. Sometimes your memory card fills up and you keep talking and talking and talking and you realize you're not being recorded. So it happens. Anyway, I'm back. So where did I leave off? I was talking about Apple's Lightning headphones, how they can only be used on a single device. Unless you use this, like I said, what I call it, the easy-to-lose dongle, which I'll have to keep a couple extra of these. And they're also harder to find. You can't go to a store, for example, and necessarily like a local convenience store buy a Lightning headphones, and certainly you're not going to be able to get these dongles from anybody except Apple. So I'm stuck at a point where I've either got to carry multiple headphones, one for the iPhone and one for everything else, or just move my audio consumption over to another device. And again, I mentioned earlier that Apple was kind enough to put Apple Music on Android. So my Samsung Galaxy S2 now has Apple Music as well. So that music library that I've had since all the way back when I carried this thing, I can still use on my Samsung, which has a normal headphone jack. So I'll be able to listen to music on that. As far as this goes, I'm just going to continue using my corporate apps on it. I'm going to use the camera on it, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And for phone calls, I guess I'm either going to have to just hold it to my head, or I'll get a small mono Bluetooth headphone just for phone calls or something. Because I certainly don't want to spend a lot of money on a proprietary lightning connector if I don't have to. The thing is, Apple says all these advantages as far as using the headphones, but you could do that on the old iPhone as well. The old iPhone 6 still has a lightning connector, and they still have the headphone jack. So they didn't really give us anything that we didn't have before. They just took something away. Now, this would all make a lot more sense to me if the Apple went with USB-C, which is what every other Android manufacturer seems to have gone with. It's more of an open standard. At least then I would be able to say if I had USB-C headphones, I could use them both with my Android device and my iOS device, and now the new MacBook Pros, and probably all future things. And then I would just have to figure out how to deal with that with an airline entertainment system, which worst case, I guess I could just grab the ones they give you when you get on a plane, those really crappy things that fall apart. But now it's, I just don't like the way this turned out. Maybe Apple will go to USB-C at some point. And again, if I didn't travel so much and I was home all the time and I didn't carry two devices, this probably wouldn't bother me as much. So granted, I'm probably not a typical use case here, so just food for thought. If you carry one device and you don't listen to music or much else, or you enjoy wireless headphones, which I've never really liked, but that's fine. If you enjoy wireless headphones, then maybe the iPhone 7's for you. I mean, that's kind of cool at that point. Anyway, moving on to the next part of this. What do I like? What do I like about this device? And there's a lot I like about this device. I love the form factor to it. I love that it's all black with the black edges. It reminds me a lot of that Note 7 I had, and it's a similar size. I like the way it feels in my hand. Compared to my iPhone 6 Plus, the 7 Plus is just light years ahead of it in speed and performance. And then its signature feature is the new dual lens camera. So how does that work? And what do I think about that? So I do a lot of photography. I've got a digital SLR, Nikon. I enjoy it. And they keep saying how the new iPhone is supposed to give picture quality similar to a digital SLR. And of course, I'm always skeptical about that. For example, whenever you see something, an advertisement on TV, this miracle product, when you get it, it's never quite as good as what it looks like on TV, right? So I was skeptical about this as well. So, and I didn't get, when my daughter got her 7 Plus, I didn't get too much of a chance to play with it. You know, teenagers, give me my phone, Dad. So, and that's fine. But I started to play with this one a bit, and there's a couple areas where I'm actually, let me stop and just say, I'm really, really impressed with the iPhone 7 camera. Is it better than the one on my Galaxy S7, which is a very, very good top-of-the-line cell phone camera? I would say the iPhone one's probably a little bit better at this point. And that's one thing I love. I love how Samsung and Apple keep leapfrogging each other. Competition is just so good for development of products like this. And to be fair, digital SLR manufacturers better start to take notice that these guys are nipping at their heels. I don't think it'll ever replace a digital SLR for professional photography or even high-end prosumer work. But for the casual user, you're getting less and less of a good reason to go out and spend that kind of money on a digital SLR. I'm sure they'll take notice and they'll innovate themselves in a way. But let's talk about some of the things I like. For example, low-light photography. The iPhone, I would say, easily beats my digital SLR, and I actually know what I'm doing with it. And when I say easily beats it, I think it takes some better pictures, and it does it with zero effort. So think about that, all the stuff you got to learn on an SLR to get good low-light photography. And just push a button on the iPhone, it deals with it. But the other part of that is when dealing with things like, for example, the new portrait mode they've got on the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. The idea is it emulates a bokeh effect, which digital SLRs have had for a while. But digital SLRs, you kind of have to do it yourself. And when I say that, it means what you're trying to do is create something called a shallow depth of field. So if you've got, let's say, a person with a background, you would set it up so that the person themselves, specifically their face, is in focus, but then whatever's going on behind them, whether it's trees or a landscape or a fence or whatever, is out of focus, is a little bit blurry, and it makes a great portrait photography. It takes a little while to learn, but once you do, you can create some really nice shots. A lot better than your normal snapshots where everything's in focus and it kind of can be distracting from the subject you're trying to frame out. So when I heard that Apple created this basically software emulation version of that, where it takes a picture using both the wide angle and the telephoto lens, and then it tries to emulate that bokeh effect by using software to blur out the background, I was a little bit skeptical, as anybody who's dabbled in photography would be. So I went and I played with it, and I gotta say, it's does a very, very good job. Is it as good as a digital SLR? I would say probably not. But for most people, it's good enough, right? So, in other words, if you zoom in, especially around areas with complicated backgrounds, and you see around the edges, you can sort of tell that software did it. But the fact you have to zoom in to see that, I think, is a testament to how well the software works. Certainly the pictures you take are going to be good enough to post on Facebook, to print out, and most people are never going to give it a double take. If you're making poster-sized shots, you probably should be using the digital SLR. Will this replace photography for wedding portraits anytime soon? Probably not. But for your casual, everyday photography, yes. And there's one thing that the iPhone's got a huge advantage over digital SLRs, and that is you always have it with you. They always say the best camera is the one you have with you, right? And that really applies here. So I guess if I have to frame it this way, can I take better pictures in most cases with my digital SLR? I would say in most cases, or I won't even say that, I'll say in many cases, the answer is yes. But will I? And the answer to that is no, because I don't always carry my digital SLR with me. It's big, I got a bag with it, I got multiple lenses, it's got a big body, it's expensive, I don't want to break it or lose it, so I don't just walk around all the time with my digital SLR. I usually have to be on a mission to take photos, otherwise I don't carry it with me. So there will be times I'm going to get some great photos using my iPhone that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten with the digital SLR. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. And because Apple and Samsung and others have improved their cameras so much, you got to get some great shots with that. So I like where they're going with it. I like that we have that option. I like we always have good cameras with us now, which is a long way. We've come so far with digital photography in the last decade or two. And it looks like it's going to keep going, so that's great. So in summary, things I like, things I don't about the iPhone 7 Plus. I like the form factor. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels in my hand. I love the performance. And I love the camera. I think it has a great camera. And you really can't go wrong with any of these modern smartphones, whether it's the iPhone 7 Plus, whether it's the Samsung Galaxy S7, and I've heard some great things about the Google Pixel as far as photography goes. I just have not had the opportunity to try that camera yet, and I would like to at some point, but I'm sure you'll all fill me in. But I think all your top tier cameras now are going to take some great shots. Apple's got that portrait mode, or the bokeh effect, which is unique to them. And again, it's better than I expected, and it's still in beta, so I'm sure it's going to improve. I forgot to mention, it is still in beta, so it's not actually a production level feature yet. Things I do not like about the iPhone 7 Plus. I hate Apple's idiotic packaging with this cardboard. That just screams cheap. My daughter made a joke. She goes, they couldn't give you the plastic box anymore because they had to pay for all these dongles they gave away. So, and again, I hate the dongle. So it's not a big deal. I'm just going to move, like I said, most of my audio consumption over to my Android device, which has a normal headphone jack. Not a big deal. Everything else, for the most part, I like about the iPhone 7 Plus. And also, keep this in mind when you hear me criticize things like the headphone jack and stuff. I'm not a typical use case. I got multiple devices. I travel. So I would like headphones that I can plug into each of my devices, whether it's an Android phone, an iPhone, a laptop, a seat back on an airplane. That's kind of where I'm coming from. So if you have one phone do you use, and you either go to an office or your home or school where you've got opportunities to charge things and maybe use wireless headphones if you like them, none of those criticisms are going to apply to you. I just wish Apple didn't do it that way, but they did, and there's not much I'm going to say about it. Clearly, I bought the device, so it's not going to hurt their bottom line at all. It's just a little frustrating from my perspective. So that's about it, guys. Just my perspective as somebody that carries multiple mobile devices. My perspective on the iPhone 7 Plus. Hope you enjoyed the video, and more to come soon. This is Mike. Take care.